Yo, what's going on, everybody? Oh, this light's a little... we'll deal with it for today's stream. How's it going, everybody? Let me know if the audio levels all make sense on your end of things. Salty Cake, I am back. Bit of a hiatus, but we have returned. Frog Doctor, what's going on? Give it a minute or two, see if anybody else jumps in before we get started with the build. Background music bit loud. Okay, thanks, Tyler. How's that? I also have a fan going in this room because I have two lights set up and it's really hot right now. So hopefully my mic is not picking up that background noise. But welcome everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I know it's been a while since I've done anything, YouTube-wise at least. It's been a bit of a busy past couple of months. I think the last video I made was the GMMK Pro video, which I have right here. So still using it pretty regularly. I do have a video that I have queued up or kind of in the process of editing for some of the modifications I've done to it, because I have changed quite a bit to what the original video I made was. Notably, the keycaps are different because they're on this one, and I also changed it to silent switches. So yeah, so stay tuned for that one. That probably will come out realistically early August would be my guess. And then I have a couple of ideas for some additional videos, in particular probably one on this keyboard because I haven't done anything with it yet, and a few other things that I'm thinking about doing. So cool. Thanks for confirming that the audio is good now. We can get started. So so the reason for this stream is a friend of mine local to me was interested in putting together a GMMK Pro build, and he went pretty all out with the build. So everything that I'm going to be putting together today is going to be GMMK. So we have GMMK switches, we have the Glorious Pandas. I'm actually pretty curious about these ones because these are the ones that come factory lubed with GMMK's G-Lube. So I've never used G-Lube before. I do have some of my own Glorious Pandas that I have lubed myself, so we'll do a little bit of a comparison there to see if there's any meaningful difference between the two. We also have a GMMK knob that we'll unbox and probably add to the build. He bought one of the cables as well. So I'm probably not going to actually use this cable because I have one already connected to my computer, but I will unbox this just so I can take a look at the quality of it, because it's kind of cool. When I did my own GMMK video, I didn't buy a ton of the accessories. The only one I really bought was the polycarbonate plate. So I'm curious to see what some of these are. We also have GPBT keycaps for the build. These are the black ash color, and this is the black slate knob. So I think that's going to look really, really good combined. And then the last couple things that we have are a polycarbonate plate, which we'll probably swap out, as well as, of course, the keyboard itself. So yeah, should be a pretty fun build. I'm going to do a couple things. I have some stabilizers that we're going to use instead of the goat stabilizers that come with the keyboard. If you watched my video, you'll know that I didn't really like them that much, and I ended up swapping them out on my board as well for some Duroc stabs instead. And I have some Durocs as well that we'll put into this one. Oh, don't shake the camera, Pat. So yeah, let's get started. Feel free, if you got questions in the chat, feel free to ask away, or whatever you want to do. But let's open up the keyboard first. Make myself some space here. So I really like the packaging for the GMMK Pro. I'm not going to do, like, I won't get into it a ton because I've already done one of these, but you know, it just does feel very premium, which is nice. And of course, we have the keyboard itself. So looking good. Same color as mine, which is sweet. I mean, there's only 2 colors, so not much else you can do. And I'm going to keep everything else in here because we're not going to be using the cable or the keycap puller for the build today. Bagek, hello. How are you? How's your weekend? Let's put that away. Alright, what else should we open up? I guess I kind of want to see what this knob looks like. So let's give this a go. Pistrarch. Have I ever used alpacas? I have seal switches, which are basically a retooled, or a recolored alpaca with a much heavier spring weight. I thought these were pretty good. Overall, these are, I think, 78 gram, which is far too heavy for me. And I realized that after I bought them, but I feel like if I were to modify these with, you know, maybe like a 65 or a 68 gram spring weight, I'd like them a lot better. But yeah, I think they're good. But an actual alpaca itself, I have not used, just the seal switches. This doesn't want to come out. You know what? I am sorry, friend Tyler. I am ripping apart the packaging. It's so small for what the packaging is. It seems a little excessive. Look at this. I mean, the box is destroyed, but like, look at look how much foam there is for this, just this little guy. I don't know. Seems a bit much. So what I was curious about was whether or not the aftermarket knobs were the same sort of same where it's like the metal casing as well as the plastic interior, and they definitely look to be identical. So I wonder if this is just the same knob that they would put for the black version of the GMMK Pro, but we're gonna use it. I like the contrast that it adds. We will save that over there. How would I recommend the GMMK Pro? I like it quite a bit. I use it. It's been my daily driver since I made the video. And let me backtrack. It's my daily driver after I made some of the changes to it that I preferred. So yeah, there might be some stream delay. Unfortunately, there's nothing I can do about it. Let's take a look at the cable. yeah, that's pretty nice. You can see on the cable itself, we have the GMMK logo there, the glorious logo, which is pretty nice. The aviator cable looks pretty well put together. It's a thick, the braid is quite thick on this, which is pretty sweet. And also the actual cable itself is huge, which, depending on if that's kind of the aesthetic you're going for, it's great. So just to give you a comparison, let's see if I can pull this sort of, knocking things over. So that's my own personal cable that I have, and that's the GMMK Pro beside it, or the GMK, or the glorious aviator cable that you can buy as well. Not bad. Do Duroc stabs fit in GMMK? They do, but in my experience, you have to use the polycarbonate plate, because otherwise these the holes for the stabilizers on the aluminum plate are too small, so they won't work. Let's put this back because I'm not actually going to use this tonight. But yeah, this is a sweet looking cable. And then, of course, we also have the polycarbonate plate, which I'll open in a sec once we get this all taken apart here. So, all right. I think that's a little bit better. Having two lights right now is just far too hot. I am cooking. How long have I been in the hobby? I started making videos. For this YouTube channel in May of 2020. So I guess you could say that's probably when my first video was about switching a CPU cooler, but not keyboard related. I think my first video that really took off was the GMMK TKL, and I've been in the hobby for, I guess, about a year and a half now, give or take. Good to have you here, Don. Thanks for asking. So right now I'm just opening it up because we are going to be switching the polycarbonate or the plate out. So get this all taken care of first, and then we will, once I have that all fit up, we will throw the switches in and also get some new stabs in. Uh-oh. To be fair as well to new viewers, I have not been posting videos in a while, just because things have started to open up where I live, and I've been spending a lot more time with friends and family that I will have been unable to do otherwise. So I've been taking a bit of a break from not just YouTube, but being on the computer all the time in general, and it's been, I gotta say, it's been pretty lovely. So little container for all these screws. Teja. Yep. Teja was my gateway drug as well. Certainly an inspiration for me to start making videos, combining two hobbies. Hey Joe. Yo, I got a GMMK Pro about a month ago, and the stabs are garbage. I think they're over-lubed or something. I don't know anything about switching stabs. Any tips? Well, for one, I would agree. I found the stabs to be pretty mediocre as well. There's a whole bunch of companies that make aftermarket stabilizers that you can buy. In particular, the ones I've been using more recently are Durox stabilizers, and that's just because they're pretty available in Canada, where I'm from, and they don't break the bank. So, for example, we are gonna be using Durox stabs for this build, and they're these guys here. So, these all come completely dry, like completely unlooped, so you can just use whatever lubricant you want. Generally, with stabilizers, I was using dielectric grease. I've also been experimenting with just Krytox as well. I've found that Krytox just works a little bit better for the builds that I've used it with, so I'll probably do Krytox with these ones. Why are we stuck? Oh, maybe not. There we go. But yeah, Joe, I would agree. The stabilizers certainly leave a lot to be desired. The silver on white ice looks neat, but I saw that Glorious talking about a limited E-white run now that these boards are in stock and don't need to be batch ordered. Yeah, you know, I kind of wish they did that first, because I thought that was a bit misleading. But you know what? I think if they end up doing it in the future, that's great. I've been thinking about just going to like a local like Cerakote shop to actually just get mine Cerakoted white, because I think that would look really sweet, but that costs money. All right. So we're going to remove the two standoffs in the middle first. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of money to tear the board. I mean, what are these running for? $180 US, I think, something like that. So, but I mean, the one thing that I commend Glorious for is they sort of encourage this type of modifications, right? Like, especially the fact that they sell their own polycarbonate plates. You know, these come bare bones, so you can experiment with different switch types and all of that. Like, it's a good starting point. Or, for some people, as somebody mentioned in my comments a while ago, endgame for a lot of people as well. So, one thing too, though, Joe, I don't know if you've gotten any of the aftermarket plates as well, but I did for the GMMK Pro that I built, I was having issues with aftermarket stabilizers and the aluminum plate that it comes with, this one in particular. I'm going to give it a test as well, because this is a newer batch, so I'm going to try throwing this in just to see if it works. But with mine, which I got in the first run of GMMK orders, it wasn't going to work at all. I think I seen a video of TechSource building his GMMK and he painted it white. Looks nice. Yeah, I don't know if you guys follow Bad Seed Tech. He did a collaboration with a audiophile YouTube channel named Josh Valor, and Josh put together a high-end DAC amplifier and headphone setup for Bad Seed, and then Bad Seed built a keyboard for him, and the keyboard was a GMMK Pro that he got custom Cerakoted to be white, which I thought looked sick. You have whatever plate it comes with? Yeah, so just double check that before, Joe. You can... It might have been, like, you might be able to, like, file the plate itself. But I just, you know, speaking about expensive things and not wanting to, like, you know, mangle them per se, I didn't want to do that. Oh, was Bad Seed done? Yeah, I like Bad Seed Tech is, I love, you know, his cinematography is outstanding, and I think he's pretty fair with his reviews. The one thing about the GMMK Pro that I still am not huge on is just how long it takes to pull it apart. There are so many screws. Salty Cake. Do I like tactile or linear switch? Lately, it has been tactile. But it's funny. I flip-flop. I'm starting to have a little bit of a switch collection now, which is pretty cool because I can swap out ones that I want and ones that I don't want. But generally speaking, the past few months I've been using Boba U4Ts, and I think they are awesome. But I think the one issue with, like, I think the reason why GMMK didn't go with a white version is because obviously there's going to be more manufacturing costs than just an aluminum color. So I think that might have been a contributing reason as to why it ended up being a silver instead of a white. You grew up with a membrane keyboard, so you can't use linear switches. Feels weird. Yeah, I think it takes some getting used to, especially if that's not kind of your default, certainly. I like linear switches for their smoothness, especially once you've tuned them, like once you've lubed them and everything. One of my videos that I did around August of last year or September of last year, I can't remember, was the Idobao ID80, and I had Cherry MX Blacks in that build, and that was my first experience with a linear switch, and I found it to be really pleasant. And this one has Telios, and I can do a typing test later on, just to show you what it sounds like, but I think they sound great too. That's the other advantage. Keep these. I'm glad I went hot swap. Since I'm new, I can try, and yeah, I think, again, that's another reason why I think this board becomes my de facto recommendation for people starting the hobby, who want kind of like an F-row and arrow keys and stuff like that, because yeah, the hot swap ability is just I think it's such a good feature. So before I swap out the stabilizers and like lube these up and stuff like that, I just want to test the tolerance on this plate, because I am curious to see if this was fixed in a later revision. Kiwis are a tactile switch, right? Okay, so let's take a look here. So here we got the plate. I'm gonna try and fit these in the, just enter. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see this on my camera, but you notice how the stabilizer, the housing itself it's too wide for the actual hole that has been milled out for this plate. So it would actually be, I'd have to really force these in, or either shave down the housing of the stabilizer, or actually like sand down the inside of this plate to make it work. So we are not going to be using the alu plate today. R&D KBD, what's up, buddy? Shout out to him, actually. He's a local online seller of stuff. That's where I got all of my boba stuff. So boba gums, boba U4Ts, switches. You know, he makes these really awesome 3D printed stands that you can kind of see. Where's my finger? In the back here. So if you're if you're in Canada, definitely check him out. Okay, this is nice. I didn't get this with mine when I bought the polycarbonate plate. This is much better. I'm just gonna put the old one in here. Oh no. Yeah, not a chance. I'm not using the goat stabs. So, same test with the polycarbonate. It's still a bit of a squeeze, but you can actually make these fit. You can see here. They actually pop out now. So we will use this. Looks like Glorious might not be supporting QMK and Q4 this year for new boards. Interesting. Hey, Chilled. It is a KBD 67 Lite. This is a KBD 67 Lite. This is a GMMK Pro. Yeah, I'm gonna do a review of the 67 Lite at some point as well, but in the Coles notes is I'm really impressed with it, and it's some of the best stock stabilizers I've ever had on a keyboard out of the box. Like I haven't even changed anything to these stabilizers yet, and I think they sound amazing. So. I haven't lubed anything in a while. I'm trying to find my stuff. One of these. Yeah, I really like 67% form factor. I think is my favorite because it. Yeah, you sacrifice the F-row for functionality, but when are you using an F-row regularly? At least I'm not. So it's easier for me to justify. And it makes, I think, your desk look really clean and nice. And then I think it also just is great for gaming because it's frees up so much more of your mouse hand. yeah, it's a... Well, this isn't the keyboard we're building, but I'll show it really quick. Yeah, I think it looks really clean. It's certainly, like, it's a very light board, but it's built quite well. Oops, there we go. How do cameras work? There we go. And this is PBT Notion that I have on it right now. But yeah, this is what I mean by the stabilizers. Like, give this a listen. Completely stock. Haven't done anything to the stabilizers, and yeah, they're great. So right now I'm just lubing the stabilizer outer housings with Krytox. Once I've done all of them, I'll do the stems, and then I will do the bar itself, and then we will swap these over. I think it does come pre-lubed. There was definitely a little bit of lubricant there before, but what's up? What's up, R&D KBD? Good to see you. I didn't even realize this because I wasn't sure what keycaps and custom accessories my buddy was buying for this build, but these Durox stabs will actually work pretty well with this black and white theme that we got going on. Music too loud. Okay. Up my voice level a bit. Okay. How's that? Let me know if that is better. I haven't streamed in a while. I'm a bit of a noob still. Better. Thanks, chat. Thanks for your feedback. It is appreciated. Was better before. I guess you cannot impress everyone. If I had a moderator, I'd get them to put a vote counter up right now. Or better yet, throw a thumbs up in the chat if it's better now, or throw a thumbs down if you want it to go back to before. For all 13 of you out there. Two thumbs up. All right. Oh. Oh my God. The vote is split. See ya, Salty Cake. Thanks for hanging out. You know what I should have done is I should have done a comparison of the stabilizers before and after with the goat versus these ones, but that's what the video I made is for, or will be putting together. Alright, so let's remove the stabs now. Some of these screws right out of the factory are insanely tight. Don't want to strip that. Any tips for first-time lubers? You can always add more later, but it's way more of a pain in the ass to wipe your switches off. So, as cliche as it is, because I think this was a meme for a while from Taiha, less is more. So don't go overboard. And you might think that you're like, am I putting enough on? You probably are. Or in some cases, you may be putting too much. Okay. Where's my picker? Also, another thing to note, SNQ Wing, is get a paintbrush that's pretty small. Like, if you look at my paintbrush that I use, that's about how wide it is. It is a number 2, if that helps you. And the reason why is it's just wide enough to cover like an entire face of a stem. So you, instead of having to, you know, lube all around, it's just one complete stroke. Oh, yeah. I mean, if Glorious is... I mean, Glorious sells everything now that you would need to get started. So if you've already gotten something for it, like, that's already, like, caters to this, then that's probably the way to go. But I just bought this from, like, an arts and crafts store local to me, and it works really well. Oops. Probably cheaper, too, because you're not paying for the Glorious marketing tax, which is definitely a thing. And I know a lot of people like using lube stations and stuff like that. Personally, I haven't ever used one, so I don't know if it's like, you know, how many orders of magnitude better it is to be lubing on with a lube station. Maybe somebody else who has experience can chime in on that, but for me personally, I just have a bunch of little Tupperwares that I separate everything out into, and then I just go one by one. Alright, first half of the stabilizer is done. Yeah, it's definitely for organization. And I mean, if there's a product out there that makes it easier, then why not give it a go, right? Oops. Okay. Just checking to see if it's sitting nice and flush on the PCB, and it is, which is good. And then I'm going to put these washers on and screw the stabilizer on. Hey Tristan, my Warzone buddy. It's for our mutual friend Tyler. So for those who are just tuning in or tuned in recently, this is all GMMK Pro build for a friend of mine who was very kind to make this available for me to build on stream. So thank you to Tyler if you're still out there. And I guess, too, since we play Warzone together, if you end up playing way, way worse with this keyboard, you can always have somebody to blame. Oh, these washers are always such a pain in the ass. Tyler is a lucky boy. Oh, come on. Sabotage. Yeah, exactly. It was all... I'm playing 4D chess. I just want to be better than you at Warzone. That's the whole reason why I said yes to building your keyboard. Yeah, it is a nice build. I mean, there's a few things that the GMMK Pro has going for it, right? Like, it is something that will be stocked fairly regularly, so that's one big thing. It's not... In the world of custom mechanical keyboards, it's not gonna break the bank, per se. And I think it looks pretty nice. God, these stabilizers are on tight. I also noticed something here too, which is different, is there's these pads on the GMMK, on this PCB. Now I have aftermarket pads that I have put on boards in the past, but I'm wondering, Tyler, if you opened this up already and we're fiddling around with it, or if these came with the board, because if so, that's different than the first iteration. Oh goodness. One of these screws is in really tight, and I'm worried about stripping it, so I'm going to try a different bit here. Oh, just wondering that what I was asking about, Tyler, was these pads were not on my version of the GMMK Pro, and I was wondering if maybe you had opened this up already and put pads on, or if this came from the factory like this, because that would be a batch 2 revision if that were the case, which is kind of cool. Like those are just there for sound dampening. So. Man, they feel really overlubed too. Hey, thanks for tuning in, SNQ Wing. Glad to have you here. Hopefully we'll see you in a future stream. 100% from the factory. Very cool. Okay, well that's pretty sweet that they have that as a something that comes with the board now. Okay, we got this last screw to deal with that's being rather problematic. What bit should I use for this? Okay, well I got half of it out. This thing does not want to move at all. That's crazy. I've never experienced this before with a keyboard. I gotta get some like WD-40 or something to loosen this off. Well, this might be a problem. Oh. I say that, and that last torque must have done something, because it finally popped off. If you didn't need another reason, or if you needed another reason to not use the goat stabs, there's, for whatever reason, they were insanely tight out of the factory for these ones. Okay, the build can proceed. Right. So I got a question for you guys. What are you guys excited for in the community right now? What's been something that has piqued your attention or piqued your interest? And you know, what sort of videos are you looking at? Like, what sort of content would you want to see? Always looking for new ideas. Also, when I'm doing the stabilizers, I typically am pretty liberal with the lubricant because that's where generally most of the noise comes from. So oops, I keep knocking my microphone. All right. Have I tried ink blacks? I have not. In terms of linear switches, I have tried Cherry MX blacks. I have tried Zelios V2s, Boba Gums, which are the silent linear, and I have tried seal switches by Minterly, which are basically a recolor of an alpaca, but with a much heavier spring. I have not wholly modded the stabs, Brian. I do not have band-aids on me, and I do not have patience to do that on a live stream. It is kind of cool, though, to see people constantly iterating on what to do when you're modifying your keyboards. Like, Holy Mod is not something that I've even tried, but it looks... I mean, the results seem to be pretty good, but it'd be something that I'd have to actually, like, sit down, maybe make a video of, or sit down and try with a new keyboard to see whether or not it's would be worth it for me to do. But have I tried creams? I have tried creams. I don't own any, but I have. There was quite a few at a keyboard meet that I was at recently. Local keyboard meet where I got to try some, and yes, they're very nice. PC Decisions. Hey, buddy. Long time no see. You were building something, I think, last time I was streaming. How did that go, if I'm remembering correctly? But yeah, I think, you know, going back to the novelty creams, I've heard that breaking them in is well worth it, and just kind of using them for a fairly extended period of time, and then kind of doing your lube or whatever it might be. It's one of those ones where it sounds like they get better with time. Which makes sense. That's why everybody likes Cherry MX or the vintage blacks. Well used and well built stuff lasts a long time. Packing orders. When are you not packing orders? Life of an online store, eh? Yeah, no worries, Natsu. Thanks for tuning in. Are you in the market for some creams? Is that why? Brian, have I seen GMK Pacific? I haven't. Let's take a quick look here. Oh yeah, this looks pretty nice. Thing with GMK these days, though, it's like the thing with GMK these days is like you're not going to see one of these for like, when is this supposed to come out? Or is this still just an interest check? I like the novelties. Like those teeth is like a very Spitfire World War II aesthetic, which is pretty cool. Is this supposed to be like a... Oh yeah, Pacific Theater of World War II. Okay, interesting. Huh. Yeah. It's not something that I think I would go in on, just because I don't know if I like the accent color here, and it doesn't like jump out to me as being anything amazing, but yeah, it's a cool set. It's in group buy? Oh, okay. Are you getting in on that, Brian? I've spent too much money on keycap sets that have not yet arrived, so I'm taking a break. I'll work with what I got for now. What board are you gonna pair it with? Oop, jeez. I could see it going well with like a blue colored board, or even like an E white one. That'd be pretty sweet. That's the other thing that I think about though with some of these keycap sets is like what keyboard do I own or might own in the future that would go well with it. That's why I'm a little bit more particular as well, because I'm just like, am I ever going to have a keyboard that will make it work? What would be the best lube for linear switches? I don't know if there is a general consensus, but I typically use Krytox 205 grade 0 for linear switches. I also have been using, instead of for the springs, instead of using Krytox for the springs, I've been using GPL 105, which is a much more, or like a much less viscous lubricant. So I put all of the springs in a bag. I'll drop a few droplets of this in and then just shake the bag like crazy, and I find that works really well for springs, getting a much more even coat. But for the actual like switch housing and the stem itself, I've been using, for linear switches, I use Krytox 205 grade 0, being more specific. Well, I guess I didn't need this extra stabilizer. Put this back. Okay, only the spacebar to go, and then I can start putting this back together. No problem, Natsu. If you are in the market for lubricant, and you are in Canada, I would suggest R&D KBD. I also recently became an affiliate with Keeps for All, which is a US-based Keeb reseller and online store of all things related to custom builds. So I'll have a link in the description of this stream for my promo code, but it's just Patrick. Type in Patrick at checkout and you can get 5% off. So that was pretty exciting when I started having those conversations. It's like, wow, people are recognizing that I have an audience, which is really cool. R.I.P. Man, what time is it for you then, Natsu? That's late. Sadly, I don't know of many UK resellers. If any, actually. There will definitely be some in the UK, though, because Glarsis is British, and he's a huge YouTuber in the scene. Maybe check his channel out to see if he's got any affiliates that you can support. $3:06. Go to bed, my dude. That's so late. Unless you're watching the Olympics or something. Oh, of course. Had to do it at least once. Every time I do a build, accidentally put the stabilizers on the wrong side. It's got to happen at least once. Otherwise, it would not be a Patrick build. There we go. Oh, is it warm where you are too? Yeah, it was, it's been like regularly 28 to 30 degrees Celsius where I'm at. And yeah, I've been sweating bullets as a result, so I feel that. I got another question for you in the chat, if you're so inclined. How are you when you're... Obviously you're here because you like watching keyboards or just randomly stumbled upon this stream, in which case welcome. But how are you guys consuming your keyboard-related content these days? Is it mostly streaming? Is it, you know, produced videos, you know, reviews? Like, what's been the norm for you guys lately? Oh, humidity, yes. There's tons of forest fires happening where I am, or around where I am, and that's been sucking in all the heat and making it really humid too. But normally it's quite dry here. Okay, all the stabilizers are in. I'm gonna put the... I'm going to try and not hit my overhead camera all the time. But I'm now going to put the plate on. Videos, okay. Okay, so you see how it actually now fits, the polycarbonate plate fits. One thing that you'll notice though when you're building with a polycarbonate plate is there's going to be some bowing on the PCB. You can see that a little bit. It gets more exacerbated once you actually screw it down. But that's what happened to my keyboard, and I didn't really notice too much of an issue. Or I haven't noticed any issues with like it feeling off or anything like that, but I do have to put the foam on first, and then I have to put those little side light diffusers because I always forget those ones. So on you go like this. What keycap set am I looking forward to come in? So I am currently in EPBT Soju and GMK Hallyu as the ones that I'm most interested in, because those are the ones I've paid for. But GMK Hallyu looked really cool to me because I really liked the color scheme. And once I'm done this part, I'll pull it up on my computer screen so you can take a look. But and EPBT Soju I think will go really well with my Maja build back here, which is in the green. And the EPBT Soju is based off of soju, the drink, and the glass containers that it comes in are green and like beige. So I think it'll be a fun complementary color. All right. One other thing that I did with my own personal GMMK Pro build was there's two middle standoffs that you can apply on the keyboard, here and here. I actually leave them out because it introduces a bit more flex to the top of the plate, which in my experience feels a little bit more comfortable. So I'm going to do the same here for my buddy's build. Yeah, R&D. Mental note. I want to reach out to you about those ultra glides that you've been making. I think it'd be a sweet video to do, to talk about how you like your process and the difference it makes. So now I'm just screwing together the PCB and the top plate. And then once I've done that, I'm going to test out the stabilizers to make sure they sound good or they sound satisfactory to what I want them to be. And then once I've done that, and barring me needing to make any tweaks or adjustments, we will put the rest of the board together and we can put some switches in it, which I'm sure is a big reason why all of you are here. This is kind of where I wish I had one of those precision electronic screwdrivers. Oh. But alas, I do not. Oh goodness, where'd you go? One more! Holy, I forgot how many screws you needed for this damn keyboard. Okay. Let's test some switches. So as I had mentioned, these are the pre-lubed Glorious Pandas, which, if they're nice, will save you a hell of a lot of time. Because you talk to anybody in the hobby, stabilizers or lubing switches is the slowest part of it. And that might be the understatement of the century. Guess first look at the GPBT keycaps too. Oh, weird. I'm used to stuff being in row and order of where they should be on the keyboard, but this I guess also makes sense. These all gonna explode. Okay. Left shift. Ascend. Where's my backspace? Looping switches takes forever. Yep. Although, like, it's kind of meditative if you get into a bit of a groove with it. Where's the spacebar? There's the spacebar. This is the first time I'm actually seeing the glorious keycaps as well, or GPBT. They feel like a PBT set, which is good. Like, it's got that texture to them. Oh goodness. Wait, one sec, I gotta take my headphones off for this. Okay, so my stabilizer is not returning, so I gotta fix that. Or my spacebar, I should say, is not returning back up. So I have to tweak that. Or try a different switch first. What would you need to make a custom keyboard? There's a few things. You're going to need some sort of a case, some sort of a PCB or printed circuit board. That's what this is here. You're going to need switches, which are going to be the thing that actually actuates your key press, which are things like these guys here. And then the last thing you would need is a keycap of some sort to put over top. So generally speaking, it's a lot more money to buy or to do it custom than to get a pre-built. But if you do it custom, there's a lot of cool things you can do to make it kind of your own, which is why I think a lot of people are into the hobby. Okay. So I think there's a little bit of friction happening with the left stabilizer on this spacebar, which is causing it not to pop up. So let's see if I can fix that. One thing I hope in the future with GMMK is they make these, they make their products a little bit more third-party friendly, because it definitely seems to be a bit of an oversight on their part with some of the, like, with the way some of the aftermarket stabilizers and stuff fit. Also with the Glorious Panda switch itself, it's a 3-pin switch, meaning it doesn't have those extra legs for stability. And this keyboard is a 5-pin keyboard, which, you know, I guess it doesn't really make sense for them to offer 2 different styles of switches, like a 3-pin and a 5-pin variant of the exact same switch, because that would probably be significantly more expensive in terms of, like, manufacturing costs. But, and don't get me wrong, I'm glad that they made this 5-pin instead of 3-pin, because then you can use so many more different types of switches. But it would be nice if they had that as an option in the, or with their Glorious Panda switch at least, they had that as an option in the future. Don't mind me, folks. I'm just playing around with this spacebar. See if I can get the spacebar to return. This part seems to be actuating fine. It's just when I put the actual spacebar on. What switches am I using? These are the Glorious Panda switches. They were provided by my friend who I'm building this for. These ones are the ones that are pre-lubricated with the G-Lube. So, Glorious Panda switches I find pretty nice. They're quite loud for a tactile in my experience. And I'm not a huge fan of where the actuation is as a tactile, so it's not my personal preference. But if this is a pre-lubed switch offering, then that will go a long way, because lubing the switches takes the longest by far. Okay, so it's definitely... The spacebar is definitely resisting because of how much the PCB is bowing. So, I wonder if I just put it all together, if that's going to return for me. I'm going to give it a go, because putting this back isn't actually... Or, like, putting the whole keyboard together now is actually not too difficult. And then we will go from there. Otherwise, I'm going to have to do some more tweaking to this. Let's see if this solves the problem. Yeah, see, this is the other thing. This is another complaint. Another issue I have with the GMMK Pro is that it seems like each one is a little bit different too. Like mine didn't have these issues with the, like there was certainly bowing on the PCB, but I don't have any issues with my spacebar. So I wonder if they're just like whatever the manufacturer they're using or the shop they're using just doesn't have the tolerances down quite right, but or maybe I'm doing something wrong. I don't know. I hope I'm not doing anything wrong. Be rather embarrassing for a YouTuber who, or somebody who's making YouTube videos specifically around keyboards to make that kind of an error. C'est la vie. Did I get the novelties with EP? No, I didn't. I got the base kit and I got the spacebar kit. Because I'm using it on, the plan is to put them on an ergo board, so I needed the space-bars. Does the rotary encoder make a difference in my preference to buy a keyboard? I'd say yes. I like the way that they look, and I got in on the KL90 group buy, the polycarbonate KL90, which has a rotary encoder and an OLED. So that board will be my first experience with soldering, because I have to solder an OLED to the PCB when it arrives. But yeah, I think if it's done right, it looks really nice. And like if you can, you know, ideally I would use the rotary encoder to be able to do things like edit, change like slider bars when I'm using like Adobe Photoshop or Lightroom. That's the dream. I just don't have the technical expertise to do that. So I'm waiting for an update in like VIA or QMK to be able to do that. But yeah, in short, I do like the way rotary encoders look. Did that fix? No, it did not. I'm just testing the other modifiers now just while I have this here, but I'm getting a bit of rattle or sounds kind of scratchy, and I'm just wondering if that's the switch or if that's the my lube my lube job. Let's find out. So I'm putting a Boba U4T in here now that I've lubed myself. Yeah, those steps sound okay. Keycaps are GPBT keycaps from Glorious directly. Have I ever thought about getting one? Yeah, I've thought about it. It's not something that I have immediate plans to do, but I kind of like how on mine, like, I just kind of like how clean the silver looks, personally. Well, that just ain't gonna work. I have to open it up again. The desk mat is from West M, which is a like a custom seller of keyboards and products. They also have a keycap set. I don't know if it's in stock right now, but westm.ca, based in New Westminster, British Columbia. So they were kind enough to send me their keycap and desk mat for review back in December. And there's a video of it on my channel, on my YouTube channel, if you wanted to take a look. Because the keycaps, there's a complimentary, or there is a keycap set that goes along with the design of this skyline that you see here, which I think looks really nice. All right. Just freeing up a little bit of space here because I'm kind of scattered right now. Okay, round 2 of making this work. Unspoken desk pads? I have not heard of Unspoken. Spacebar won't work if you won't work properly if I take out the stabs. Well, it has worked though. I have aftermarket stabilizers in my own GMMK Pro with this same setup, and it worked. So I'm not sure what the issue is. Maybe if I try a different stab. This is gonna be the next couple minutes here is just gonna be trial and error, I think. Unless anybody has a recommendation in the chat. I really don't want to take this all apart again, but I think that's what it's trending towards. All right, well, bite the bullet. If you gotta do it right. So, let's fix it. What time is it for me right now? It is 8:41. Oh, center posts, right. There we go. So if I do some trial and error here, I'm going to first, I gotta use a 5-pin. So I'm gonna throw this switch into the PCB straight up without any plate, and then I'm gonna put on a stable or the space bar to see if it returns as we expect. Okay, everybody can see that. Perfect. So we know that it's not the stabilizer, it is the plate. Am I planning on reviewing and customizing a mouse? I have no plans to do that, PC Decisions. It's a bit out of my wheelhouse, and keyboards is enough of a strange hobby to get into. Oh, my dog has joined us. Hi, Rosie. So, no. To answer your question, no. I don't plan on doing any mouse streams. I mean, I'd like to maybe do some mouse reviews, because I think that would be cool. One of my goals, I think, long term with this YouTube channel is to be a little bit more universal when it comes to tech products, because I really like PC hardware. I really enjoy fiddling around with. It's just the past few years it's been hard to get your hands on products, right? And so in the future, that's definitely something I'd like to continue to do. But high-end audio, well, I mean, depends on how high-end you're going, I suppose. So even when I don't have any screws in, and I just fit the plate over the switches, or the PCB, I have those fitment issues with the main stabilizer. And I suspect part of it is because of this rotary encoder on the top. It doesn't want to sit right, so I think what I'm going to have to do is shave a little bit of this PCB, or this plate, I should say, near the top to get it to fit a little bit better. So and maybe around the spacebar itself too. Which, to be honest, I'm kind of ill-equipped for right now, so I think what would probably be easier is, instead of taking this off with a knife, is getting like a small sander or a small file of some sort to file all this. So I might do that. You were also having an issue with that part. Yeah, I wasn't having an issue with my own GMMK Pro, but I am with this one, so I might have to take this one offline and fix myself, just because I don't really know how I'm going to tackle this quite yet. But I obviously can't really send this back right now because it's not working. So, Oh, yeah, I mean, you can go pretty nuts with audio equipment, PC decisions, so that doesn't surprise me, but 1.5K is a lot of money. I mean, I like my headphones. Like, these are DT770s that I really enjoy, but I don't think I would ever... I mean, never say never, but I have a lot of other things that I would spend money on, apart from, like, insanely high-end headphones. Okay. Thanks, Steve. I will try not to. But yeah, in all reality, I think I'm gonna have to probably table this build because it's getting late. I got to do some stuff because for the work week tomorrow, starting tomorrow, and I have to do some manipulation to this plate in order to get it to work. So we might call it there. I might finish this build on live stream, probably not tomorrow, but at a later time. But yeah, I'm gonna have to play around with this a little bit more before I actually get it finished, which is a shame, but sometimes that's how it happens. But yeah, thanks everybody for jumping on. Appreciate you all, and I'm hoping, like, now that now that I'm getting back into a more regular routine with, you know, hanging out with friends and things like that, I'm going to carve out some more time for YouTube. So realistically, probably new videos will start in August, and I'll try and be on sort of a 2 video a month schedule. That's kind of all I can really justify with a full-time job and, you know, just general life commitments and things like that. So, but yeah, stay tuned. I'm back. I'll be back for just file a bit of the stab holes. Yeah, I'll do that. I just don't have a file on hand right now. I gotta go get one. So, but yeah, thanks everybody for jumping on the stream. Thanks for hanging out with me on a Sunday night here. Really appreciate you all. And yeah, we'll be streaming more consistently, or at least making videos more consistently as the fall begins and I have a little bit more time to do this kind of stuff. But yeah, great chatting with you all. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one. So cheers. Talk to you later.